I'm seeing more concern about bird flu these days, including here in the United States. You've said that we need to take it more seriously. Why is that?
Because we should.
But specifically, I mean, give us a sense.
So a lot has changed in the last few months with bird flu. You know, as you may know, there's been this virus, H5N1, one of the bird flu viruses, circulating in the U.S. since early 2024. It's been in dairy cattle. It's been in wild birds, but spilled into dairy cattle at some point, and now it's in herds all over the country. So that was already a big problem.
There have been a couple of human cases that we know about, right?
67. Yeah. So that's one of the big things that has changed, is that in June we had 3 cases. Now we've had 67. So there's been a big increase in that. And now there are 2 versions of this virus that are circulating, and one of them is pretty new, and it's already in wild birds all over the country. And so that...
And is this a potentially likely fatal disease in humans?
We don't actually know. I mean, that's one of the problems. It has been fatal, you know, elsewhere in the world, it's been fatal. And here we've had 1 case so far, but we don't know exactly what the death rate would be, for example, because A, there haven't been enough cases for us to know that, and B, surveillance has been just really, really poor. So we don't actually know what this virus is doing, how it's evolving, how widely it has spread. We have a vague sense, but that first death was quite a wake-up call. It was in a person in Louisiana who was over 65 and had some underlying conditions. But then there was also a teenager in Canada who was 13. She was very obese, but beyond that, no risk factors, and she was ill and hospitalized with organ failure for weeks. So this virus could actually be quite bad for a lot of people, but we don't have a very good lens on what it's doing. So that's one of the reasons I think that scientists are quite worried, that now you have this virus that's clearly changing, and having 2 versions run around is never a good thing, because flu viruses are very good at what we call reassortment, mixing and matching, and picking up new mutations. And also we have seasonal flu going on. So if you had a person who became infected with bird flu and became infected with the seasonal flu, bird flu could pick up the ease with which seasonal flu spreads, and then off we go, spreading among people. So the idea that it's now in cows and it's been in cows and it's not going anywhere, that means we are probably looking at a permanent scenario of farm workers being exposed to this virus, and for that virus to then have a lot of opportunities to mutate and become adapted to people.
So given that there has been a lot of political opposition to the way COVID was handled by many of the officials that are coming in, what do you think that might mean for a bird flu epidemic, were we to see one?
I think it's actually could be quite tricky. You know, RFK Jr. really is a proponent of raw milk, which is full of virus, actually at this point, bird flu virus. And health officials say that raw milk is dangerous to drink, but he has continued to support it. For example, we have bird flu vaccines that are in the federal stockpile, and he has said those are dangerous. Asked about it in the hearing, he did say that he would support whatever vaccine, but again, he's been so anti-vaccine so many times over the years, it's really fully hard to believe that. He's definitely opposed to mRNA, which would be our fastest, most efficient way to get to a vaccine. And, you know, even the other nominees, Jay Bhattacharya, who's supposed to head the NIH, Marty Makary, who's supposed to head the FDA, they have been at times huge critics of how COVID was handled, not always without basis, but certainly they're not big fans of the big public health measures that were taken. So it's really quite an open question what would happen if we had to have a big bird flu epidemic or a pandemic, how they would actually deal with it, and whether they would support the things needed to contain something like that.